Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, my name is Samantha and this is On the Hill, where we talk all things biblical womanhood, homemaking, modesty, intentional living, and just overall lifestyle. If this is your first time here, I hope you enjoy this video, and if you've been here for a hot minute, go ahead and subscribe. But I wanted to talk to you guys today about the beauty of childbirth. So we are pregnant with baby number 3 and we are due soon. And for those that don't know, I'm also a birth doula. So your girl does a lot of things. I'm a clinical therapist and I see clients, a few clients a week for that, but I also provide in-person and virtual services for mothers that are pregnant and that would like support throughout pregnancy, labor, delivery, postpartum, etc. And so one of the things I get asked a lot about is just like my thoughts on childbearing and childbirth and what my experiences have been. And so with our first, I recorded our experience at the birth center that we were at. It was a beautiful experience, beautiful first time experience. If you have not seen that video, it was a little while ago, so you'll probably have to scroll back a little bit, but it was truly like a supernatural experience in and of itself. And after that experience and having a doula and birthing at a birth center, in which I did a lot of research prior to on just natural and kind of intuitive labor and, you know, just how women of old birthed rather than how we kind of do things now, in a more, I guess, like medically controlled. So in getting a lot of questions around my thoughts concerning childbirth and like I said, I've had the opportunity to share my experience with my first birth. I have not even recorded my second son's birth. We need to work on that, especially before baby number 3 comes. And then also just doing work with clients. I wanted to record this video just to kind of share some thoughts with you guys and just how I kind of prepare myself and how I've renewed my mind when it comes to the topic of childbirth and labor and delivering and postpartum and all of those things. So I have a few notes written down as usual. But the first thing that I want to talk about is the importance of having to relearn, you know, in a positive light, like the beauty of childbirth. I think, at least for me, I know growing up and watching movies, when I would see women having babies, she would be like screaming and going crazy, and it looked scary. Like, it did not look like something that was desirable, did not look like something that I wanted to go through. And so seeing that, and then I don't know about y'all, but I've heard a lot of like horror stories, especially like from older women. I don't know, they kind of like, I feel like get a little kick out of like sharing their horror stories. I know my family, when I was pregnant with my firstborn, we like went up north to visit, and they were like, as soon as you get there, you need to tell them to shoot you up with the epi. Like, they were having fun and like laughing about it too. And I'm just sitting there like, okay, I'm gonna excuse myself from this conversation. And so I think just all of that, you know what I'm saying? We just have not seen or experienced a lot of like beautiful aspects of childbirth and like heard those stories, and you know, we haven't really been empowered to embrace childbearing like I think we should be. And so that was a big part for me, was having to really educate myself. And I think what kicked it into gear for me was I had started getting on like a more natural lifestyle in general. So just natural living, trying to eat healthy, trying to live more healthy, be more intentional with my living, low tox type of lifestyle. And I'm still working on those things. I'm nowhere close to arriving. But I think that kind of started my journey. And then I got interested somehow into like labor and or more so like childbirth, but like natural, right? And so I think I just started looking at like different YouTube videos and just learning more about the beauty of you know, just childbearing and natural births, and how a lot of it comes down to like mindset and having to unlearn and like relearn from more of an empowering standpoint. And a lot of the work that I do with my doula clients, it starts with that. It starts with like working on their mindsets and like dismantling the understanding that they had of childbirth, and like how to build them back up to understand like this is a beautiful thing, you know. I said this in another video, but children are a blessing from the Lord. And so this is an opportunity to partner with the Lord in bringing a blessing earthside. You know what I'm saying? Like when you think about like if you're doing a big project or you're about to do something that's really big and you get to partner with somebody that's like big time to make something big happen, it's like, I don't know about you guys, but like when it came to like opening my boutique or like starting a business, like the momentum as you're getting to the big day, it's, I don't know, it's empowering. You're excited. You know what I'm saying? And so I think it was the same thing for me. It was like having to see this as, this is something that's beautiful. I'm about to bring forth a blessing to the earth. Like I'm partnering with the Lord to bring forth this blessing. And like seeing that as a beautiful thing, and then seeing it as empowering. Like I'm a woman and I was created, like my body was created to be able to do things, to do this, and not only was I created to do this, but like I don't know, like I just started to see it as more like an empowering thing that I get to do as a woman. I don't know, like I just started to lean into it and learn more about it. And so I would encourage you in that aspect, as far as unlearning and relearning, is to begin to like listen to empowering stories, listen to the stories of women that see the beauty of this and that embrace it. And does that mean that every aspect of pregnancy and labor and delivery is going to be perfect? No, not at all. By the time this video comes out, I don't know if we'll have shared it yet, probably not. But with our second labor and delivery experience, it was not like our first. It was actually an emergency situation where I almost lost my life and my son was actually born like not breathing, right? And so we'll share that testimony. But even after that experience, like it just still doesn't take away from me like the beauty of childbearing. Like yes, it didn't go as planned, but I've learned to see the hand of the Most High even in situations that don't go as planned. But that all comes a part of like mindset and perspective and the way that like we view it, you know what I'm saying? And so I know I just said a lot, but hopefully all of that made sense. So like unlearning and relearning and surrounding yourself with positive and empowering experiences, and even experiences that are not so positive or like didn't have the outcome as expected, like mine. Like again, mindset and perspective. Like how do you view that? How do you view when things don't go as planned? Can we have the mindset? Can we learn to have the mindset like Paul did, where he learned to glory in tribulations, even if it wasn't the outcome that he had expected or planned for? And so I'm saying a lot, but hopefully this is all like just encouraging you in being able to see childbearing and childbirth as something that is beautiful and something that's empowering. As a woman, I'm approaching my third trimester and I'm like gearing up. I'm getting the home ready. I listen to different podcasts, and I'll list some podcasts below that I recommend for you to listen to. One of which I'll mention now, but it's called A Heavenly Welcome, Birthing in God's Presence. And I listened to this podcast through all of my pregnancies. And what I love about it is what I just mentioned, in the sense that, you have some supernatural, perfect, like just perfect experiences, and then you have some women that didn't have so perfect experiences, but they really express and share their testimony of how they still saw the Lord's hand in spite of the fact that it wasn't the outcome that they had expected. And so again, filling your bank, filling your spirit, filling your soul with like those experiences. And when people surround you with their negative or horror, negative experiences or horror stories, which will happen, you can respectfully decline. And that's one thing I have to tell people, like you have to protect your space when it comes to pregnancy and labor and delivery and childbearing. That is one of the most vulnerable moments a woman will ever have in her life. And you have to protect yourself at all costs, y'all. Protect yourself. And so when my family members would come with their horror stories, like they know not to do it now, because right? But like more so with my firstborn, when they would try it, y'all might hear my children in the background, they're in the living room. But when people would try it, I would just respect, like, hey, like, I just respectfully, I would appreciate, I don't want to hear that. I'm just trying to stay in a positive place. I'm trying to just kind of prepare my mind and my heart and my faith for what's going to happen. And if they can't respect it, I would respectfully remove myself. Literally, I would respectfully remove myself. And it didn't matter who it was. Family, it did not matter. I would respectfully move myself, because I knew I needed to protect my mind, I needed to protect my heart, and I needed to protect my space, to be able to prepare my faith and, you know, just my being for what is about to happen. You don't want to feed into negative stories and horror stories, and these are their experiences, so never invalidate it. Like, never brush it to the side or be rude or disrespectful. That's not what I'm saying. But I just had to, you know, nicely, like, hey, if you don't mind, like, I would rather not hear about like any horror stories, or, you know what I'm saying, like, negative experiences. Like, I would just prefer to not hear that, if that's okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a respectful way to say it, but protect yourself at all costs. The next thing I will say is, and please hear me clearly, like, in no way am I anti-medical system or like anti-doctors, nothing like that at all. Anti-hospitals, like, I'm not that type of person. I believe that you have to do what's best for you. I believe in doing your research and making educated decisions, and, you know, knowing your options and doing what is best for you, doing what is best for you and the child's father, and for the child. Like, do what you have to do, right? But what I will say, not but, what I will say, because they say once you say but, you negate everything that you said before but. So I'm not going to say but. What I will say is that I do think that pregnancy and childbearing and labor and delivery and all of those things have been more medicalized, in my opinion, than it should be, right? Like, how I view it is that this is a natural experience. This is a natural part of a woman's life. And I believe that the Lord has equipped us with everything necessary to care for this child and to bring this child earthside. And granted, I understand that emergencies happen. Like I said, I had an experience where an emergency happened. In the same manner, I think that we have medicalized childbearing, right? And so instead of embracing it as something that is natural and something that is normal, something that encompasses discomfort, you may be uncomfortable, you may experience some pain, you know, like, instead of normalizing those things, it's like, oh, you're in pain, let me give you something to stop the pain. Same thing with health, not just, you know, childbearing, even with health. You know, oh, something's wrong, let's give you medication. Something's wrong, let's give you medicine. Something's wrong, let's do this. Instead of let's talking about, okay, what does your lifestyle look like? Okay, maybe you're having these migraines because you're stressed out, or you're not sleeping enough, or maybe we need to change your diet. Like, diet is linked to so much, and I'm not going to go down this rabbit hole, but our diet and what we eat and just overall lifestyle and our environment is linked to so much of our health. It's ridiculous. And the fact that, like, that's not addressed enough, we just kind of go straight to like being prescribed something, is something that, like, I am not a fan of. And so I think it kind of translates over into childbearing, where we look at it sometimes as like this medical thing, rather than like, this is beautiful, and okay, you're not feeling the best, or you're feeling some discomfort in your joints. Let's try this, let's try that. Let's not just prescribe something or give you something to make it go away. Like, some things are not meant to go away. Some things our bodies need to endure, or our bodies need to figure out. Our bodies need to naturally fight. It's the same thing with a fever, you know. When it comes to our children, when they're not feeling well, I try not to just jump straight to like medicine. If I need to give them medicine at the end of the day, like, if it's necessary, I will, you know what I'm saying? But I try to just let their body like run its course, you know what I'm saying? Like, let it do what it needs to do. I don't need to just shove medicine at them every second of the day, or every time something is wrong. And so I think the same thing with childbearing, you know, like, normalizing what it encompasses, like what comes with it, so that when these things do happen, we're not freaking out and like, oh my gosh, give me medicine, give me this. It's like, no, breathe. Let's learn how to breathe through it. Let's learn how to cope through it. Like, some things we need to learn how to cope. And like, y'all, we can link this back to the word of God, right? Like, there's some things that we don't need to escape or run away from. Some things we should learn how to cope, and we should learn how to go through the experience, because we understand that on the other side of that experience is something waiting for us, right? And so yeah, I think just like normalizing and unmedicalizing childbearing is a big part of it. And I think with that, like what we should be taught is like we should be educated. We should learn more about our options. You know, making sure that you're building up a solid birth team that you trust and that you really connect with. You know, with our third pregnancy right now, we recently moved, and you know, so I'm not where we were before. I don't know as many people, so this is a new area for us. And so I had to like really do some research. I had to connect with a doula. So I'm a doula in the area that I work with, and there's a network of doulas that I work with. And so you know, there are like some local hospitals, and I went to one of them, but I felt so uncomfortable, y'all, just after the first visit, that I was just like, I'm having anxiety coming to prenatal visits. Like that one prenatal visit gave me so much anxiety that and even like my husband could see it on me. He was just like, we got to find a different place. He was like, because this is just like the visit number one. And you've only interacted with the nurses. You haven't even met the doctor yet. So he was just like, look, like, let's see what are some other options. And so we had found like a birth center, but the birth center was like 2 hours away, which we didn't mind making the drive for. Like, I believe, like, I'm okay with making the drive for what I want and for like quality, right? But because of my husband's schedule, I was going to have to make a lot of those visits by myself, and it was just too taxing on me. So thankfully, one of the doulas that I'm connected with in my network found a midwife that's about an hour away. So I drive an hour away for our prenatal visits, which is not bad at all. It's perfectly fine. I'm able to manage it. But that 1 hour drive is worth me having someone on my birth team that I connect with. Like, I connected with her instantly. She hears me. If I say I don't want to do something, she doesn't pressure me. She doesn't ask me why. Well, why not? Because I don't want to. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and she gives me options. That's another thing. Like, you really just want to have a birth team and people on your birth team that are going to support you. And that goes like from your husband, like your spouse, to, you know, making sure that people that you're involving in your pregnancy, and especially labor and delivery, like, it's people that you trust. It's people that you're willing to be vulnerable with, trusting your doctor, trusting the facility that you're at. And I understand we're in different situations, so that may not be, you know, everyone may not be able to drive that hour. Everyone can't choose the birth center. Everyone can't choose the midwife. I get it. But what I am saying is, you know, research. You don't have to take the first thing that's given to you. Research, ask questions, ask around. Are there any other options? Is there anyone else out there? Because that's what I had to do. Like, and it took a few months for us to find her, but we found her, and I'm so glad we did. Even down to, like, for example, the glucose test. You guys know you're given like a drink to drink at a certain point, and, you know, to test and see if you have gestational diabetes. And so I usually at a birth center, you know, they have like different options. And so, you know, with the midwife that we found, she's not at a birth center. She's going to be delivering me or delivering the baby in a hospital, which I'm okay with because I have a good relationship with her as my midwife. Like, she'll be delivering my baby. She'll be the one doing my care. And she has a great relationship with the hospital because she used to work there as a nurse. So it was like the perfect situation. And so, you know, I was just kind of talking to her. I was like, do you guys have any other options for the glucose test, like any other drink options? And she was like, no, it's just a standard test. Like, that's all she had, which is fine. So I said, well, is it okay if I bring my own drink options? Because as long as your drink has, FYI, as long as your drink has 50 grams of sugar, you should be able to use that drink. Or if you use like a compilation of different foods that will get you 50 grams of sugar, then you should be able to do that and take your test. And so she was just like, yeah, bring some juice options or some food options, and then I can select whichever one. So y'all, the naked drinks, you know, those naked smoothies, I brought like 3 of them. And I think I brought like some other juice options that also had like at least minimum 50 grams of sugar. I brought it to my test the day of, and she was like, oh yeah, let's go with the naked drink. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, little things like that. It's not life or death necessarily, but it's just the fact that, like, I didn't want to do what was given. I asked if there were other options, and she allowed me to explore other options. It wasn't just a cut, dry, no, this is what you have to do. And so I'm saying that to say, like, if you can find a provider, if you can find a team that will allow you to explore options, that will allow you to make educated decisions, that will allow you to make decisions that make you feel comfortable. Again, it wasn't you know, necessarily life or death, but I just didn't want to take the drink, you know? And that meant a lot to me, that she allowed me to explore my options. And so I'm rambling on this point, but the point that I'm trying to make is your birth team and who you surround yourself with is going to play a big part in not only you unlearning and relearning, but like you feeling safe. Again, pregnancy and childbearing is one of the most vulnerable moments a woman will feel in her life. And so in order to really do what you need to do, in order for the body to function the way that it needs to feel safe. And the biggest thing that is going to play a part in you feeling safe in your experience of childbearing is your provider, is your team, is where you're birthing. And I'm in full support of like home births. The only reason I've never done a home birth is because they're expensive and insurance doesn't cover it. If I could do a home birth, I would. And my husband would be on board, but it's just too expensive. And so again, like some options may not be available to you because of location or because of access or because of budget. And if it's not, like figure out what is within reason for you. And if you don't know, like hit me up and we'll talk about it. I'll help you explore some options. But hopefully that point makes sense. So I don't want to make this a long video, and hopefully the points and just the things that I shared will just kind of get you guys thinking. Again, people always ask, like, how do you feel about childbearing? Does it make you nervous? Does it make you fearful? And the honest answer is no, like it doesn't. But a lot of that has come with the unlearning and the relearning and the seeking out my options and making sure that I have proper support of people that are going to encourage me and not discourage me. Like if you have certain preferences, you want people that are going to encourage you in that. As long as there's nothing medically, you know, medically wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like there's some times where there's no room for options. We need to do what's best for you and for baby, right? But a lot of times, like there are options on the table and you need someone that will be willing to talk through that with you, i.e. a doula. If you are pregnant, I encourage you to look into a doula. Look into someone that can walk with you through pregnancy, that can provide that emotional and mental support. We don't deliver babies. Sometimes people think that like we're the midwife and we deliver babies. We don't deliver babies, but midwives, they are your cheerleader. They are going to be your advocate. They're going to support you. They're going to educate you, tell you what your options are, and just empower you in childbearing. And so if you can find one, you know, there are doulas that offer services online if you don't have one in your area. Shameless plug, okay, Eden Doula Services. And I'll link our social media and our website below. But reach out to me, really, y'all. If you have questions, you know, like reach out. Like I said, I do offer virtual services. And you will think, even like day of virtual services, and you'll think like that's impossible. Well, the pandemic showed us that a lot of things are possible virtually. And of course, it's not the best case scenario. I would prefer to be with you in person. But if you have no one else in your area and you need me on Zoom the day of your birth, like I'm willing to do that. And I have done that for clients. And so, yeah, like y'all just make sure you know your options. Shop around. If you think about it, if you're going off to college, you don't just take the first school that's thrown off to you, right? Like you shop around, you go to visit the campuses, you ask questions, you do research on the different departments and the activities that the school has, or you would do that for your child, right? And so it's the same thing with an experience like this. Don't just take the first option thrown to you. Just because the, you know, family practice or the hospital up the street is the closest one to you doesn't mean you have to go there. You can go outside of your area. You know, there are other options that are available. And so I just encourage you to get educated, to learn, surround yourself with people that can educate you. Look at some podcasts, read some books. I'll put some recommendations below. Follow some social media accounts and see things in a different light. Allow yourself to see things in a different light. And reach out to me nonetheless. If you have no other options, reach out to me. But I hope this video was helpful for you guys. I hope it was encouraging. Let me know if you like content like this. I'll definitely try to push out some more. And like I said, I'll put some links below for some more just resources and ways that you guys can connect with me if you have any further questions. Subscribe if you have not already, and please share this video with another can't talk. Subscribe and share this video with another mama that you know that this video would encourage and be helpful for. I hope you guys have a good day.